The developers of Stalker 2 are super active on their Discord, answering tons of questions from the community. I took the time to dig through the past few months of Q&A to gather the most important and interesting news for you. I've gathered over 60 questions and their corresponding answers, so buckle up, there's a lot of fascinating info to share. The questions and answers are in no particular order, but I've tried to organize them a bit by theme. So let's get started. Players have noticed from the map fragments shown so far that there will be quite a lot of water in the zone. This raises the question of whether it will be possible to swim in the game or if the water will always be off limits. The answer is simple: jumping into radioactive water is not a good idea. To confirm this, a community member pointed out that they spotted frogs in one of the trailers, which led them to wonder if swimming might be possible. The official response clarified that all lakes, ponds and other bodies of water in the game are simply too radioactive to swim in. The next question is whether it will be possible to drag bodies in the game. The answer is yes, even with the loot on the bodies. Another question that many of you have been curious about is whether vehicles can be used in Stalker 2 to travel across the large map. The answer is straightforward: no, vehicles won't be available. This naturally leads to another important question: will fast travel be possible? The answer is yes, but only if you pay the guides for it, so be sure to always have some cash at hand. One question that has also intrigued the community is whether it will be possible to explore the entire map right from the start. There are 20 regions in the game, so can you immediately head to the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, or will there be artificial barriers to stop you from going too far too early? The answer is that you can certainly try to get there. This means it's technically possible to go, but surviving the journey will likely be a significant challenge. Will we be able to slide down ladders instead of climbing down slowly? The answer is that you can jump off ladders, but you'll take fall damage if the height is too great. Interestingly, this was apparently the cause of the first in-game death for Mollet, one of GSC Game World's community managers, who kindly answers most of the questions in the Discord Q&A channel. Another question was whether it will be possible to build bases, your own little refuge where you can set up your personal space. The answer is no base building, but players will have their own very handy stash for storing loot. This led to a follow-up question about whether there would be any kind of shelter that you could upgrade or decorate with furniture or similar items. The simple answer is no. Another common question was whether there would be multiple stashes where players could store their loot and whether NPCs could steal from these stashes. The answer is yes, there will be dedicated loot stashes for players, particularly in hub areas and other convenient locations like near traders. As for the safety of these stashes, the answer is no, NPCs will not loot them. Your items will remain secure. Next, players were curious about whether there would be something like magic binoculars, essentially a tool to identify if NPCs are friendly or hostile from a distance. The response to this was both simple and amusing. Mollet explained that if someone attacks you, you'll quickly figure out they're hostile. Additionally, they will be marked as red dots on your compass after the fact. The following question addresses NPC behavior in combat, specifically whether they would be able to use knives or other melee weapons during fights. The answer is yes, NPCs are equipped to use melee attacks, which means close quarters combat will be just as dangerous as ranged encounters. Dreadnought asked a thoughtful question about whether friendly NPCs in Stalker 2 would seek shelter during dangerous phenomena like emissions or psi storms. The developers clarified that NPCs will indeed try to survive emissions, they won't act recklessly and charge into certain death, at least not the majority of them. Another intriguing question was raised about the pre-order bonuses that many players are excited about. A user asked if these bonus items would be handed over at the start of the game or if they would need to be found within the zone, perhaps by completing certain tasks or uncovering coordinates to unlock stashes. The answer was clear: yes, you will need to locate the bonuses within the zone. They won't simply appear in your inventory from the outset. Instead, you'll have to work for them, either by finding specific stashes or fulfilling objectives to claim the rewards. This approach makes sense as the pre-order items aren't just simple skins. That brings us to the next question: are they merely cosmetic skins or are they unique items that come with the pre-order? The answer is that they are indeed unique items, which you'll have to find in the zone. Additionally, there will be some extra content for your campfires, making these bonuses more than just aesthetic perks. But before we continue, I'd love for you to consider subscribing the channel if you're enjoying the content and are interested in even more about Stalker 2. Also, feel free to leave a comment below about which piece of information you found the most interesting so far. I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this. Another pre-order related question came up about the bonus mission included with certain editions of the game. Specifically, a user asked if this extra side mission might be included later in the season pass, released as DLC, or added in a free update sometime after launch. The answer is no, it's a pre-order exclusive. Judging by the community's reaction, it's clear this decision hasn't been well received. There have been a lot of thumbs down responses. Understandably so, as I'm personally not a fan of exclusive content being locked behind specific editions either. It's always frustrating when unique experiences are restricted to only a portion of the player base. The next question revolves around the overall length of the game, specifically the main story. Players are wondering, if you skip all side missions and focus purely on the main campaign, how long will the game take to complete? The answer is that it's hard to give an exact number, since it depends on factors like the player's skill level, how well they understand the game mechanics, and the chosen difficulty level. However, a rough estimate suggests the main campaign alone will take around 30+ hours to finish. Another question that's been on the minds of many in the community is, how many endings will the game have? The developers have confirmed that there will be at least 3 different endings. Next up, players wanted to know if loot in the open world will respawn over time. The answer is partially. Some loot will respawn, while other items are unique and will not reappear once they've been collected. A frequently asked question is whether the game will feature companion NPCs. The answer is no, there won't be any permanent companions. In a similar vein, another question popped up. Will it be possible to have a pet dog as a companion? Unfortunately, the answer is no. There won't be any true companionship in the zone, not even a loyal dog. A great question is whether there will be repeatable job missions in the game, as these are critical for the economy. The answer is yes, there will be repeatable quests from traders, and the system will be familiar once you encounter it. Another excellent question is whether Stalker 2 will feature a reputation ranking system. The response to this was a bit reserved. Yes, there will be such a system, but further details are under NDA. The next question asked whether there will be a detailed crafting system allowing players to craft ammunition and consumables. The answer is no, there will be no crafting system. One of the most intriguing responses came to a question about the map. Will players be able to place their own markers on the PDA to help track items, dangerous spots, or locations they want to revisit? The answer is yes, and that's fantastic news. This system will be incredibly useful for hunting down secrets, marking points of interest, or noting areas to explore later. A big thumbs up from me for this feature. Another question focused on immersion. Will it be possible to sit around campfires and listen to music or stories from NPCs? The answer is yes, and this feature is sure to greatly enhance immersion in the zone. Players wanted to know about equipment repairs. Will there be technicians in the game to repair gear, or will it work like in Shadow of Chernobyl, where players had to use anomalies? The answer is yes, there will be technicians who can repair your equipment, however, they won't work for free. Another great question was whether it will be possible to sell or trade heavily worn weapons, or if they'll need to be repaired before you can get rid of them. The answer is that you won't be able to sell weapons with durability below 40%. Another interesting query was whether players would have access to a model viewer in-game to closely examine character models. The user expressed admiration for the detailed models and wondered if the game offers a way to view them up close. The answer is no, there won't be a system like that in the game. One user asked if it would be possible to document the various animals like dragonflies and frogs seen in a deep dive video, essentially creating a sort of bestiary or field journal. The response is that while there will be a lot of fauna to discover in the zone, there won't be any way to track or catalog them in-game. The next question is particularly exciting. A user wanted to know, since the developers have emphasized freedom as a core aspect of Stalker 2, how many interiors of buildings will actually be accessible for exploration? The answer is most of them. That's pretty amazing, considering the sheer size of the zone and the number of points of interest packed with buildings. The ability to explore the majority of them adds a significant depth to the game world. Another question asked whether there would be melee weapons in Stalker 2 and more specifically whether something like katanas would make an appearance. The answer is straightforward. katanas will not be in the game. A small but very important detail: will it be possible to pause cutscenes in the game? Considering there are over 3 hours of cutscenes in Stalker 2, it's essential for players to pause them if something comes up, whether it's a child needing attention, a bathroom break, or any other interruption. The answer is yes. On PC you can press escape to open the menu and spacebar to skip the cutscene entirely. Both options are highly practical. Another cutscene related question was whether it would be possible to replay cutscenes from a menu after they've been viewed. The answer is a simple no. A fun question was whether players will see the message "lost to the zone" when they die. The answer is yes, and it will also show how many times you've died in your current playthrough. A nice touch that adds some personality to the game. A follow-up question asked if anything special happens when a player exceeds the counter. Perhaps a reward or some kind of Easter egg? The response was, honest answer is that I do not know. However, the general expectation among players seems to be that dying frequently will be a common experience in Stalker 2. Another important topic concerns accessibility options. Does Stalker include any? The answer is yes. There will be a dedicated section for accessibility features, including modes for color blindness and similar adjustments. Additionally, the game will support the Xbox Adaptive Controller. When it comes to technical features, a player asked whether the game will support DLSS 3. The answer is yes. DLSS 3.7 will be supported. For those without an NVIDIA 40 series graphics card, will there be FSR? The good news is that FSR 3.1 will also be supported. However, there's some bad news to follow. The official system requirements, which I discussed in my last video, rely entirely on upscaling. This means that if you want to achieve the performance stated in the system requirements, you'll need to enable either DLSS or FSR. This underscores just how hardware intensive Stalker 2 really is. Another frequently asked question over the past few days has been about when players will be able to preload the game on PC. The unfortunate answer is you won't. There will be no preload available on any PC store for Stalker 2. This is likely due to the fact that Stalker 2 has no DRM such as Denuvo. The concern seems to be that without DRM, the game could be easily pirated and played before its official release. Next, a question arose about achievements. Will there be in-game achievements or ones tied to platforms like Steam? The answer is yes, there will be Steam achievements, so completionists and achievement hunters have something to look forward to. Another really great question was about save systems. Players wanted to know if the game will support multiple save options such as quick saves, for example F5 to save, F6 for load, manual saves via the menu, auto saves, and even the ability to have multiple quick saves simultaneously. The answer is yes. Stalker 2 will include quick saves, manual hard saves made through the menu, and autosaves. You'll also be able to maintain multiple quick saves at the same time. Additionally, the game will organize saves by categories for different playthroughs, keeping everything neat and easy to manage. This is a particularly cool feature that ensures players can experiment with different approaches without worrying about cluttering or overwritten saves. It's a big thumbs up for organization and flexibility. For those of you with widescreen monitors, the next question is particularly interesting. Will ultra-wide resolution support be included in the game? The answer is yes. Stalker 2 will support a variety of aspect ratios, including 16:9, 21:9, 32:9, and even 16:10. Great news for widescreen users. Xbox players also received good news. The game will support the use of mouse and keyboard on Xbox. Personally, as a mouse and keyboard player, I love this feature. If I were to play a shooter on a console, I'd definitely prefer to use this setup, and Stalker 2 makes that possible. Another frequently asked question is whether players will be able to upgrade their standard edition to the Ultimate Edition after purchase. The answer is yes. There are plans to offer a digital upgrade option post-release. However, specific details haven't been shared yet, so we'll have to wait a bit longer for more information. There have also been many questions about voiceover localization. For instance, will the English voiceover only apply to main characters, or will it also cover NPCs like soldiers wandering the open world, campfire stories, and other incidental dialogue? The answer is that all voiceover in the game is localized in English, so everything from main characters to random NPCs will have English audio. Another popular question concerns language options. Specifically, can players mix languages, for example, have the voiceover in Ukrainian for immersion while keeping the subtitles, menus and other text in English? The answer is yes, that's absolutely possible, allowing players to customize their experience for maximum immersion and accessibility. The next set of questions focuses on the UI and customization options. First up, will it be possible to adjust the size and transparency of HUD elements? Mollet wasn't certain if this applies to every element, but he confirmed that there will definitely be some customization options for the interface. The next question was whether there will be a minimap in one of the corners similar to Skyrim or Fallout that can be toggled on or off. The answer is no. If you want to check the map, you'll need to open your PDA. Another UI-related question was whether players could disable the yellow paint that mark ladders and other interactable objects for a more immersive experience. Unfortunately, the response didn't directly answer this question. It only stated that players can modify many aspects of the HUD and interface to enhance immersion. However, in another interview, it was mentioned that the developers are exploring alternative ways to highlight interactable objects beyond the yellow color, so changes might be on the horizon. Will players be able to adjust the field of view? The answer is yes, there will be FOV adjustment options in the menu. Finally, a fun and oddly specific question: if we look down, will we be able to see Skiv's legs and feet? The answer is yes, you'll be able to see them. Another interesting question was whether we'll have a character screen in the inventory that shows stats like resistances to radiation, fire protection and similar attributes. The answer is yes, there will be an overview of these stats available on your suit. The next set of questions focuses on weapon and outfit upgrades. One user asked whether we'll need to find specific tools to give to technicians in order to upgrade our gear, or if we can simply pay more money for each upgrade all the way to the highest level. The answer is that basic upgrades can be done by technicians for money alone, but more advanced upgrades may require additional steps or materials. Another user was curious about the depth of the weapon upgrade system. Will it just involve adding a suppressor to a weapon, or can we fine-tune weapons similar to the detailed customization in Escape from Tarkov to perfectly suit our preferences? The answer is that weapon modifications will allow for finer adjustments, enabling players to customize their weapons to match their specific playstyles and preferences. And so we've arrived at the final question and answer. Will there be a day and night cycle and a weather system in Stalker 2? The answer is yes, there will be a dynamic day and night cycle, and yes, the weather can change as well. As a bonus bit of info, I read somewhere that playing from dawn till dusk in the game will take 1 real-world hour, just to give you an idea of the pacing. And that's it for this massive Q&A. I hope you found plenty of new and interesting details that you didn't already know and that got you even more excited about the game. Feel free to drop a comment below about what you found the most fascinating or surprising. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you in the next one.